Hello, welcome to the Dimp Digital Podcast. We're on episode number 54, and this time you've just got me, Apps, for now, but we do have some other guests joining later on. But we had some bitterly disappointing news this past week that I wanted to address on my own, because I know it affects me the most out of everyone probably, because after 13 years, GameTrailers has closed. Defy Media have decided to close that particular arm of their operations, and on a personal level, this is sickening. I've been watching GameTrailers content for, it's got to be coming up for 8 years. Annoyed Gamer, Invisible Walls, Pack Attack, the GT Timelines, Bonus Round, their excellent retrospectives, and the other fantastic stuff they used to do. That was all like the Viacom era. And once Defy took over in, I think it was June 2014, they had to adapt. But since then, since that kind of takeover, I must have watched 95% of the content that GameTrailers published. It was almost like a daily ritual, logging on and seeing what new videos posted and watching it. I bloody loved it. The team that was there at the very end, that was a set of very, very talented people who had a genuine passion for gaming, and I couldn't get enough of it. I could not get enough of this stuff. I loved everything they put out, so much so that I tried to imitate what they did. I swear down to you, in August 2014, I set up Dimp Digital. I set this up because I wanted to imitate GameTrailers. They were my inspiration for doing all this, and if GameTrailers would ever, if Dimp Digital would ever get to 1/10 as good as what GameTrailers was, I'd have been a happy man. And you've only got to look at our YouTube channel, Let's Talk. That's our version of Just Played, or the editorials they used to call them, Talking Trailers. That is there. Everybody's gone to the trailers, which they used to do. It's all there, guys. If you look at our stuff, you'll see glaring similarities to what they used to do. And it's because I loved it. I loved the site. And now it's gone. And there were talented and passionate people there that don't have a job now. That's the real shame. Me harping on about how sad and disappointed I am. That's a very selfish way to look at it, because in a life that demands that you earn money, for the moment these guys have had that opportunity snatched away, and they were doing something that they clearly loved as well, which makes it even more difficult to swallow. So I hope everyone at GameTrailers finds their feet and manages to redeploy in a place where they are as happy as they were at GameTrailers. And finally, thank you. Thank you for inspiring me to create Dimp Digital, because now I have a hobby where me and my friends can take our enjoyment of gaming to the next level, and I don't think this would have happened without the influence of GameTrailers, particularly on myself. So that's GameTrailers dealt with. Very sad news, and it's just a fucking shame. That's the only way to say it, really. Onto this show in particular, we've got quite a few guests this time. We've got Logan and Hall kicking us off. Then we move on to Chappers, and then we round out with Adkins. So jam-packed show, all-star cast. Hope you guys enjoy it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. So let's welcome into the fold the usual suspects. It's Logan and Hall here. We've got a couple of things to talk about on this week's episode. I think, I didn't brief you on this particular bit, but I think I need to speak to you, Hall, about this Madden being bought.
Yep.
Because you've gone out and bought Madden 16.
Madden 16 done
on Xbox One, so that Super Bowl's really giving them a few sales, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually followed the NFL
for precisely one evening when the Super Bowl was on.
No, semi-closely. I mean, I watch a podcast, or a video podcast called Sports Ball, which is basically an American football podcast.
Yeah.
And I've been keeping up with that for most of the season. And I was just faffing about on Xbox Live the other day and noticed that EA were having a bit of a sale.
Yeah.
And Madden was on there, and I've been toying with the idea of buying it, either that or NBA 2K16.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, NBA 2K16, however much Chappers raves about it, is still currently like 38 quid.
Right.
For the reduced version, whereas Madden was only 18.
£18?
Yeah, £18 for the digital download.
Really?
So,
Christ.
like, that's not too bad. I'll have a slice of that pie.
Yeah.
So got involved, yeah. So I purchased it a couple of days ago now.
Did you put in about 6-7 hours and you've already got 650G? That's a joke.
Yeah, I'm up to about 9 hours now.
Fucking hell.
For 650G. Realistically, I'm looking to get to. I'd like to get to about 800. I think there's a few more that are more than achievable, but it's more of just like a replacement for FIFA. As,
right.
I'm not really that bothered by the FIFA franchise, and I just thought it's one that we used to play. I remember a friend of mine used to have Madden something or other on the PS2, and he had a multi-tap.
Yeah.
And we used to go around.
Multi-tap, fuck me.
Exactly. We used to go around there and play it 4-player.
Yeah.
It was just fucking so much fun. It didn't matter how shit you were or whether you knew the rules or whatever. It was just basically about the one person who knew how to play would be the quarterback, and everyone else would just be running around like headless chickens, just fucking taking out savage tackles and such.
Yeah.
So now I've got a bit more of an understanding about how the NFL works and how American football works.
Yeah.
I thought, screw it, it's about time that I got involved and gave it a try.
Excellent. So that's a reasonable explanation. Mr. Logan, you've gone and committed to this as well. Did you get this for the bargain price of £18 as well?
I think it was $18.49 or something.
Wow.
15, I think it was.
Yeah, thanks. It was an odd number.
That's a stupid number, yeah.
Yeah, that is poor. I guess it's just a percentage taken off and they go, well, like that's what happens.
66% off or something, yeah.
You've yet to play it, but you were a big fan of FIFA, you know, back in the day. And it was interesting that Hall mentioned this could be like a FIFA replacement. Are you looking at that sort of in that sort of respect, or is it more just something that you can jump on and maybe play with Hall now and again? Are you going to play much on your own even?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to try and do. I presume there's a season mode on it or something. I'd like to get actually involved with it. I've watched a little bit of American football, but only really at Super Bowl time.
Yeah.
I didn't make the effort to watch it this year, but I did last year, and I think it's one of them games. I've seen a couple of Let's Plays on old ones as well around Super Bowl time, and it looked like a good fun game.
Yeah.
And I know that there's an English guy that I watched play it as well.
Right.
And he had pretty good fun on it, and he didn't really fully appreciate the rules at all. So I just thought it could be something fun, and I thought what I was actually thinking was it's worth the £18 anyway if me and Hall can be on the same team, and I can just really get annoyed by it. He can get annoyed by me just not doing things properly and just trying to take pointless shots at stuff and just taking people out. So.
Pointless shots. The knowledge is seeping out here of the NFL.
I don't.
It has got an ultimate team mode.
Yeah,
I know it has. Yeah.
You do not know.
I'm not going
American
for it.
Football,
I'm not touching it.
Struggle.
I'm 100%. I'm not touching that. I've played Ultimate Team on FIFA, and it didn't interest me on there, so it's definitely not getting near me on this. So
yeah, it's more of a party game on it for us to twat around on every now and again.
Yeah, so I expect you'll just text me one evening, go, do you fancy a couple of games of Madden? I'll go, yeah, right then.
You'll say, no, I'm doing Diablo 3 still.
That will happen. He got stung out for that last night as well.
Yeah, no, he's already told me about that. He's been moaning all 10 minutes with his waiting. So I mean that's it. I mean, Hall, how does it play then? Just quickly, what's the final word on how it's played? You've said you put the 9 hours into it. Impressed so far?
Yeah, I am. It's hard. It is no two ways about it. I've got on the lowest difficult. I mean, obviously, like I say, I'm obviously not American. It's not a sport. It's not a sport that we play over here.
Wow.
And my knowledge is probably second to most people. But yeah, from an outside, like to say, the first one that I've played in probably 10 years is fucking hard.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
Even on the simplest settings, like some of the computers I just get stung by. Plus, like the different modes on it and bits and pieces, they're quite in depth for what they are. In the same way that I'm sure people look at FIFA, or like to us, it's kind of, it's just football, It's easy, But this is probably as it is to the Americans. But the gameplay wise, it plays beautifully, and the control system is relatively easy to pick up. It's got a huge tutorial mode on it if you want to do it. There's quite a long enforced tutorial, and then there is a load of like practice drills and bits and pieces that you can do to up your skill level. Yeah. And I mean it makes it like I've completed all of the tutorial things now. I've literally done every single one of them, mostly because there was an achievement for doing them all. But it does help you get a bit of a better understanding about like defensive plays and everything, because it'd be very easy to just go on and just be some moron. Like if I dread to think what it's going to be like when I play it online for the first time.
This is what I was thinking. Maybe you and Logan should team up, Dimp, stream it.
We'll get
really
fucking drilled.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, absurdly drilled. I get drilled by the computer on the easiest setting. If I have to play against some sicko that's just committed his life to it online, it's just not even going to be.
That's not going to happen, is it?
How poor it's going to be.
No.
We will do it and we will stream it.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. So, I mean, does this signal the end of our Borderlands quest? Logan's binned it already, he said. Are you...
I'm ready to carry on. I'm ready at any time, but I didn't know what you two's...
I'm ready. Logan's the one who's out, it looks like. Aren't you, Logan?
I ain't doing it.
You ain't doing it, so it's a two-man operation now.
There ain't the desire there.
Frame rate's too low.
No, there is not the desire there.
Yeah. Alright, well, me and you have to punch through it, Apps.
Right.
I've already laid it out. The terms are there.
There's no terms, you've binned it. Cool, that vibrator's gone off. That's an absolute disaster for the podcast live.
I don't know how you're hearing this. I've only just realised the headphones that I'm using haven't got a fucking microphone on them, which is good.
Yeah.
So I probably sound like a fucking sack of cunt.
For what is essentially making up a small part of this podcast, it's going wrong already, which is not good, and there ain't long left of it. Let's crack on to some more actual kind of news stories. Titanfall to get story campaign, and also it's been suggested a TV tie-in could occur. So Jesse Stern, who's the lead writer, was speaking to Forbes and says the sequel will feature, and this is a quote, a lot of scenes where science meets magic, but keeping it grounded and dirty and human and real. Now, Logan, you said last week you didn't think this would happen. You thought they're not going to bother with that. So that's egg on your face less than a week afterwards.
Yeah.
Are you happy with them going down this route, or have they just binned it? I mean, it's got magic in it now.
This is what worries me. This is what I mean, is that rather than improving what they had, they're going to try and pile shit on it. So
they're going to improve it for people who don't want to play online.
Right, there was zero magic. It is not a fucking... It's supposed to be... It's set in the future.
Nah, mate. Wizards.
Yeah. It'll be like Diablo. You can be like the bloody... What's it named? Demon Hunter and stuff.
Right, I don't mind sci-fi. So if they're just grouping sci-fi like into magic. So, for example, if you said, I've got an anti-gravity... helicopter, for example, you go, right, well, that's sci-fi. It ain't a fucking levitating helicopter, it's magic, is it? So where magic, are we going?
A helicopter is almost magic anyway, aren't they? Actually not able to fly.
Job done.
So I've read what he said, and it sounds like a lot of evocative bollocks.
It's not even been taken out of context either. That's literally what he said.
No. I've read his quotes, and it's like...
Listen to it. He says that.
You know when people just write a story, and they just put in loads of descriptive words and adjectives, and all the... Like, it's a bit like that, and it doesn't really... It's so broad, it's really hard to interpret, but by the sounds of it, they want to do something really good with it. I don't understand how they can... It's sort of like two polar opposites, making it dirty, gritty, and dirty, and like. Well,
it's just the bollocks, isn't it? It's just this trying to hit every target audience by saying all these buzzwords.
Done, yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm taking it with a pinch of salt.
If Jesse's fucking lying, this game doesn't have magic and science in it, I'll be first to write a letter.
I'd expect it to have science in it.
Well, I want this magic.
All I want is robots, wall running, weapons, and blowing shit up. So it doesn't need more than that. A campaign can be good, but it doesn't need to have loads of shit on it. So please, if you're listening, Jesse, don't put shit in the game. Don't just fucking chuck everything at it, because it won't work. Not for me, anyway.
That's a fairly negative reaction to what I essentially thought would be good news, but are you in the same boat, or you're not fussed really? You're not going to play through it, are you, to be honest? Let's be honest, Hall. You ain't going to sit through that unless it's going to give you some good G.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only reason for it.
Bad, mate, then I might do, but I don't... The thing is, they've taken, like, a winning structure...
Yeah.
...and just completely, like... They're calling it Titanfall 2.
It's a poor name.
Presumably... giant robots are going to fall out of the sky, but otherwise it sounds like a completely different game.
Wow.
Right? So the first one had no story, right? That was part of the charm of it, because you could just pick it up, do a bit, leave it. Like, for me, that's not a bad thing. If I've got something that's a hugely immersive story, I have to do it in one long stint, because otherwise you forget where you are, you forget what's going on. Whereas Titanfall's one that I could even go back to now and play. As for this TV show bollocks, I mean, there's going to be that blog post coming out on the website soon about games that have become films or potentially television shows and how that generally transfers over. That just sounds like it's going to be an absolute crock of dog shit.
What, the TV tie-in?
The TV tie-in just sounds like I just don't see
Halo.
How that's going to... that went a fucking storm, didn't it, when they fucking did all the Halo pieces. That went down an absolute treat. Oh, no, wait, that was a fucking sack of shit and all. So I've got absolutely no hope for that in the slightest. I wish they'd just say, right, Titanfall went well, let's just build on that.
Yeah.
Make a load of new maps. Because it's going to be the same game engine, isn't it? They're just going to do the same game engine and they're just going to put some shit campaign on the front of it, which is completely unnecessary.
Well, if they get the campaign, that's the complete game there. Finally. I'll get my way.
If the campaign is good, then... it could be absolutely phenomenally good.
Yeah.
I'm not that worried about it myself, but I know for a lot of people that was the major concern or the major flaw with the first one. So if they get it right, it could be amazing, but I'm just a little bit concerned that with all this, like you say, all these magic buzzwords that they're throwing around and about, they're just focusing too much on trying to market it to absolutely everyone with the television show and stuff, and they're not focusing on keeping the core gamers and the people that supported the first one, keeping them happy. Yeah,
okay, well, we'll see. I mean, I'm happy it's got a campaign. The multiplayer campaign was nothing short of a joke.
It wasn't a campaign, was it? It was
it was just faces talking. You couldn't hear them because you're trying to not get killed.
Yeah.
And then at the end you lost, and it just went, go to the next bit.
Yeah.
I remember one of the achievements was to win on every map on both sides, and I spent fucking ages trying to get A on the right side and B on the right map. It was really getting on my nerves. I kept getting kicked out. I finally got it, but it took me bloody ages because I couldn't select what side I wanted to go on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's a lot to ask, mate.
Yeah, I was not happy with that.
I've just been going through on the article that I'm reading about I wanted to go and see some more of these quotes on Titanfall 2, see if I could find any more.
Yeah.
And I've gone down on the quotes, and what what people are actually arguing about is the American Civil War.
Yeah, there's that.
Incredible, because they've mentioned Revolutionary War and everything, and Civil War in it. There's people going on about how many fucking slaves are made, how much it cost, and it's literally going down into the fucking nth degree about the American
You talking about the comments section of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's poison, mate.
People are idiots, mate. You have to understand.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like, there's someone going...
on the net are idiots.
Oh, yeah, honestly, and everyone's correcting everyone. And it's gone from like a Titanfall 2 speculatory article onto a dispute about the American Civil War like 300 years ago.
Yeah.
Incredible. Sorry about that. It's fucking tickled me. And there's 400 billion slaves. Would that mean the US slave population at the time of the Civil War was 80 to 100 million people, greater than the current US population? I don't think that's correct. Maybe you added an extra zero. Oh, go fuck yourself.
Well, there you go. That is comments for you. I wouldn't... It is a snarl up, bin them. They should just be disabled, really. Anyway, bin that. Little bit of news that come out as well this past week. The Walking Dead Michonne will be released on the 23rd of April. So subsequent episodes will be following in March and April. So it sounds like they're committing almost there to a monthly release schedule. I mean, there's only 3 episodes in that. But I'm happy with this. It's a bit earlier than I expected, but they need to give me the 5th episode of Minecraft Story Mode.
You still not got that?
No. Last episode was the 22nd of December. It was episode 4. And they released the first 4 in quite quick succession. You know, they come out within like 2 months of each other. And I've heard nothing since, and that has really got on my nerves. Finish that, then do this shit. Oh, we've got loads of teams. Stop it. Get them off.
Because there's a retail release for that. Like, you can buy...
Yeah, no, I've got it. That's what I got for Christmas. So you download... It installs the first episode, and I think the rest, you have a season pass that you activate. So whether I can even trade that in, I don't know now. Probably can't.
.exe file, done.
Well, that's it. So I've just paid for a download. Well, I haven't paid. It was bought for me. But yeah, so I ain't got that yet. I mean, I've only done 1 episode, but I wanted to at least get a sight of the 5th one coming out.
Next week, they'll go, Batman, you'll go, fucking hell.
They start doing things like that. It makes you think they've abandoned that Minecraft and thought it was poor. But haven't played. It's all right. I haven't played through enough to judge it yet. Rocket League to land on Xbox One 17th of February. So we're days away from that. It's going to have some DLC bundled in and some exclusive cars as well related to the Xbox brand. Now, for you, Hall, is this something that you're the only one that really hasn't got this yet? Because you obviously haven't got a PlayStation 4 and the laptop of yours ain't going to be running this. Having played it as much as you have, which is a fair amount around Logan's and other little bits and pieces around Pipers, is this a consideration to buy, or is it just like I've played enough of it and if I want to play it again I'll go around one of their houses?
It's tempting, but as I was saying to you earlier, it's more of it's a party game again, isn't it? It's one that you're unlikely to play much.
No, you're wrong.
Well,
I'm not going to play it much on my own, I don't think.
I wouldn't have thought you would.
I'd probably play it for achievements, but I'm not that worried about it.
What price would tempt you into that? What price would they release? £4 for that?
That's what I'm valuing it at.
Oh my god.
That's what you got to deal with.
Well, there's nothing to it. It's just cars driving around an arena.
Well,
yeah, I can't dispute that.
It's one level. How much is that? How much?
It's greater than the sum of its parts. I think that's
a lot of design gone into that. There's lots of unlockables and stuff. Logan, do you think they've kind of missed the boat here, or do you think the buzz is still there? The Xbox One owners are like, finally, I'm going to get to play this, because this, providing they've not got a PC or a PlayStation 4, they're like, yes, thank you.
I think
because when it first released, you were steaming around looking at their Twitter feed trying to hound them.
Yeah, I was literally hounding them, going get it on there. But I don't think so. I think it will still do really well. I think it will still appeal to majority of people on there if it's priced right.
Yeah.
£4.
Yeah. I think the Steam might run out. I mean, obviously for people like me who's got it already on PS4,
it's not happening, is it?
It's not happening. So
no.
I think they missed a bit of a trick, but maybe they were bound contractually to keep it on PS.
Yeah.
So it's hard to bash them, but yeah, I think it will still sell well.
Yeah. No. Let's hope so, because it deserves to.
It does, absolutely.
Have a few extra sales, and then that will no doubt boost them. You wonder whether they'll do a platform timed exclusive like this again, or whether they'll just like TitanFall are going to do, just go bang, it's out on everything.
Well, what I want them to do with this is actually just one server for all. So PS,
it's not gonna,
PC, and Xbox all just meet on the same one. There's absolutely. There's already PC users. You can already go on the same servers as a PC user.
Yeah,
so
PS4,
why do they need to be going no?
Because Microsoft and Sony aren't friends. There's no reason why they couldn't do it. They just won't.
Big Phil says no.
Big Phil probably would love it. It's just big
mate.
Sony who's just like faceless, like no chance. Got 2-to-1 selling average. Don't need any of your shit. But
meanwhile, Nintendo in the background, like
you can cross-play with us.
Hi guys, please. We'll bring a Mario Kart along.
I think they should do it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to tweet Phil in a bit and go
get it on there.
Yeah, can we get it on there, please, mate? Shared servers.
I think that's a good idea. No chance in hell. That's it, guys. That's your little segment up with. Thanks for joining me on this slightly different episode of the Dimp Digital Podcast.
See you later.
Bye.
The webmaster Chappers joins us to make his debut here on the Dimp Digital Podcast. I mean, you've made one appearance on the YouTube channel thus far, and that was for our Let's Talk on the Division. But I kind of see that as a substitute appearance, and this is your full debut now. So welcome to the podcast, Ben.
Hello.
Excellent. So when we get someone new on the podcast, I like to kind of give them a little introduction and get them to speak about what consoles they own, if they've got any preferences for the games they play, anything like that. But you've just gone through a major transformation of sorts in the last week or so. So before you'd undertaken this task, what did you kind of prefer in the past? What consoles did you own before you went through this kind of clean slate approach? And we'll get to the clean slate approach in a moment.
Yeah, so I was PS2 back in the day, and then I switched on the Xbox 360, and then I was kind of pretty avid Xbox.
Right.
For say since the 360. I noticed I had a horrible addiction to NBA 2K series, and I think pretty much I was just playing that constantly.
Yeah.
And then I'd play the odd first-person shooter.
Yeah.
But my skills just aren't good enough to keep up with the 12-year-old kids.
No, yeah.
7. I tried Destiny for a bit. Played GTA Heists.
Yeah.
Had GTA 5 for both the 360 and the One, and it was mostly based around group gaming with mates, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you change from the the PS2 to the Xbox 360. So I remember actually back in the day when I got my 360, you were one of the people that kind of pushed me to get one, and I was holding out for the PS3. I'd only ever had PlayStation and Sega. I'd never really had a Nintendo or anything like that. I'd missed the original Xbox, and you were saying, look, get an Xbox 360, it's out. And as soon as Sony announced the prices for the PlayStation 3, I was like, right, I'm definitely getting an Xbox now. And I went out, got Forza Motorsport 2 and Gears of War, and I never looked back on that generation. It was great. So what kind of it spurred you to make that change? Was it because the 360 was out just sooner than the PlayStation 3, or did you fancy a change?
I think when I got the 360 from the PS2, it was purely the fact of, I think I must have just come out of uni, or I just changed jobs or something like that, and I just had some spare cash in my pocket, and I thought I'd go and splash on it, really.
Yeah.
I don't know how far back you remember to the 360. It was that terrible ping pong game.
Yeah, Rockstar's ping pong. Yeah.
And, I think it was that and Oblivion or something like that I had. And just kind of everything they seemed to do on there was really clever. And they integrated it in with the Windows Media Center back in the day, and so I could stream movies from a PC. And it just seemed that Windows and Xbox 360 seemed to go together like quite well, and it was like home entertainment system for the first time, and I don't know, it just all seemed really exciting back then. And, a lot of the PS3 stuff wasn't really as integrated. No. First, I don't think to to kind of being in your living room, I guess. No. That's what sold the 360 to us, I guess. Really. Yeah,
it was offering those kind of different outlets, and you could do other things on your console. Yeah. Rather than just stick a DVD in. And you know, they went for the HD DVD. That didn't quite pull off.
But fluffed that one.
They fluffed that one. But didn't seem to matter too much. I mean, it's just that I remember at the time, the PlayStation 3 coming out, and I'm sure it was like £500, something absurd. And I'll have to look back. But everyone was going, oh, it's got a Blu-ray player. And I was like, I haven't got any Blu-rays. I don't need that yet. It's not ready.
HD DVDs that I've got.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, I didn't get the HD DVD drive in the end. No. But I was tempted. And then I saw that it's just losing and dying out, and once again we find out that Pawns won it out like they did for old VHS back in the day in Betamax. But I mean, when you was playing beforehand, so I mean you mentioned you're playing a lot of group games lately. Has that always been the case since it's allowed you to kind of connect over the internet? And I guess the 360, that was a big coming out party of it, allowing you to play with your mates over the internet, whereas on the PS2 I think I played once or twice on the internet tops, and it was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, the PS2, I think you had to buy like a Ethernet card on the back of your machine and all of that, and it was a bit of a nightmare. It's definitely the social gaming part of it. My wife would disagree, but I've got some uni mates who had 360s, and we'd all kind of meet on there Monday, Tuesday night, kind of what you guys try and do Sunday mornings with your Dota and that, and it was just good to catch up with people and kind of say GTA 5 was the pinnacle of that, really. Yeah, 60 and the one. But,
absolutely was. So what would you say your highlight games? I mean, you mentioned NBA 2K and you've mentioned GTA 5. Was there any other kind of games that you found that were sticking out for you and you thought they're ones to keep in the memory book from either the 360 or the one?
For the 360, I loved the Gears of War trilogy, and Borderlands was mega as well. I mean, me, Hall and his brother pretty much played it for 48 hours straight.
Well, the first one.
Yeah, so we they were really good times. We had the same pizza delivery guy 2 nights in a row, and it was that was really good fun. That was just literally all three of us sat in his living room in his flat, and and just cracking on with that. So it's all of the kind of co-op games really. I think that stand out. Yeah, Oblivion was great when that came out, and I was a big fan of the follow-up to that as well.
Skyrim, yeah.
So I do like a bit of RPG and single player, but a lot of it's like really just great catching up with mates and being a bit competitive. Yeah, I mean with the one we done I ran a Forza league at my previous place where I worked. Yeah, that was great fun because we had kind of got all guys from all over the office that we wouldn't necessarily chat to, and was all racing. You're streaming it on Twitch, and we done the same with a FIFA league. And I think that's what I like about consoles when it comes to gaming like that. Is it's a bit of a leveler, because I'm definitely not going to be able to get my mates to come and play basketball with us. But if I give them a controller, they'll give it half a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great fun. Yeah.
Excellent. So that's all in the past now. I mean, you've undertaken I guess is a new way of gaming life. We mentioned the transformation earlier, and I'll give you the floor here, so you can, if people haven't checked the website, this is being blogged sort of maybe every week or every other week. Chappers is jumping on there to update. But what have you gone out and done? Surprise everyone, to people that don't know.
Yeah, so the Xbox One I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with, and I do a bit of PC gaming as well. I love some like kind of strategy games like Civ 5 and XCOM. And,
which are suited to the PC platform.
Yeah,
and some aren't even available on console. XCOM 2, that's not coming to console. It's on
I don't think
PC
Civ
at the
5
moment.
would either, really.
No.
So, and so I had a Windows 10 PC and my Xbox One. I kind of feel like Microsoft has just, like, I've given them so much trust and time, and they've just kind of constantly ruined it for me. Like,
what have they done?
They said no backwards compatibility. You're not going to have. You can't use any of your old 360 games. Okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
Trade them all in. I probably traded 20 games in and got like half a game back.
Yeah.
And then like a month later, they're like, "Oh, guess what, guys? Backward compatibility." And then
it's too late, isn't it?
I mean, the amount of stuff they do, like you buy a game now, and like you've got a disc. You put the disc into the machine. It's a 4 gigabyte download if you're lucky. I mean, potentially even more.
Yeah.
Like games you can't get a game without buying DLC for it now. I mean, I was trying to play Battlefront with my mates, and they'd all got the pre-ordered version of it, and I hadn't.
Yeah.
So I couldn't play the Battle of Jakku until like a week after them.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm just like in the lobby trying to join the game, and I know that's not necessarily Microsoft's fault, but it just kind of felt like everything I tried to do on it was just a chore.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite of what I wanted a console to be.
Yeah, it's meant to be easy, isn't it? It's meant to be seamless, and you don't want to deal with that sort of trouble.
Yeah, and my Windows 10 machine was an absolute dog, and so I think one day I couldn't even get onto Xbox One for some reason. It was all balking out at me, and screens popping up everywhere, or just freezing. So I thought, right, I'll go and have a game of Civ 5.
Yeah, trusty Civ 5, 400 hours.
Go and destroy a civilization somewhere.
Yeah,
and I logged it on, and an update come up on that, and it was running so slowly. And my machine's not the best in the world, but it should be able to at least boot up.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I'm formatting it. Got a USB stick, stuck Ubuntu on it, rebooted it, and just formatted the whole hard drive.
Yeah.
Walked into the office next day, sold me Xbox mates, and there's no Microsoft products. Well, there's the 360 is still in the loft, but it's got no games.
Yeah.
But there are no Microsoft products in my house anymore.
So you are now using Linux on your... Is it a PC or a laptop you've got this on?
Yeah, I've got a desktop Zoo Storm PC, dual core processor, nothing too beefy.
No.
But yeah, so kind of just cleared house and went again. So yeah, it's breath of fresh air. I don't think I've gamed this much in quite a while, actually.
Really?
It's fun. Yeah, it's it kind of feels like a bit of a new adventure, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Why did you got this nice PC? It's the Windows 10. That's not working out for you. You get rid of that. You go for Linux. Why was Linux the choice? I mean, there's not a great deal of other options out there. Was it just one of the larger platforms that you can get that you know is going to support at least some games? Yeah,
I mean, I've done a little bit of research before I kind of stuck the USB stick in there, and I've kind of being a web developer, I use a lot of kind of console tools, and I can't. I mean, that's where the hate for Windows started. Really, is you're trying to use these open source tools, and it's just bogging you down. So I use a Mac for work, and the terminal and the console between a Linux machine and a Mac machine are very similar.
Right. Okay.
So I had a rough inkling that it was gonna, that I knew what route I was going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I'm honest, it's been a hell of a lot more straightforward than I thought it was. So, I'd recommend it to more people if they're relatively Microsoft angry.
Would you think someone who's not tech savvy though would be able to do what you've done here and go on it and set it up right, or is there a little bit of fiddling around and pissing around that's got to be done?
There's a little bit of fiddle, yeah. I mean, when I booted mine up, installing Ubuntu's like installing any other bit of software, really. Obviously, there's a little bit of disk management in there, but if you're going for a fresh install, then you're pretty good, really. But even dual booting's not the hardest thing in the world. You can just kind of read a couple of articles about it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of playing around with graphics card, but a lot of the package managers you can just do it all through the terminal, so you don't even have to download anything. You can just command into the terminal. If you find a trustworthy source on the internet, or then you can even kind of just copy and paste it into the terminal. So obviously you've got to semi know what that's going to do, and so that you don't kind of allow someone full access to your machine. I mean it's just so lightweight and so quick compared to Windows.
Oh really? So it's not as bogged down and slow. Like my PC is a slug now. It's struggling since Windows 10's been put on. A lot of my applications or installs have had to just stop working. And I could do with having something nice and light on here. Yeah. To be honest, if that was.
I mean, there's obviously downfalls to that as well, because the number of supported games is incredibly low.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to get onto. I mean, what sort of? I mean, you've got a Steam library of how many was it? You've got a lot of them.
It's in the high 70s.
And how many of those are compatible? I think you said like 20 or 22.
I started.
Yeah.
And it's 24 now because Firewatch has come out. And I bought the new. I'm saying new Civ. I bought the latest Civ because it was in the Steam sale. So
got to, wouldn't you? When a Steam sale comes on, you've got to be doing that. So you're finding it quite good. You're enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of games are you most looking forward to? You mentioned that Firewatch has come out. I'm sure you've got a backlog there as well. Are these the sort of games you're going to be looking at? I mean, there's going to be not a lot of multiplayer stuff going on, a group game. You're going to have to get stuck into games that, either are multiplayer but you don't know who you're playing against, or, a solo or a single player game.
Yeah, I mean, Steam have made... I think if I was doing this even 2 years ago, I did kind of contemplate it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
To the stuff that was available, and it was so slim.
Yeah.
Steam's just doing this great job now with Steam OS and everything they're doing there, because Steam OS is just a flavour of Linux.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of really trying to entice developers to make games
compatible,
and it's I mean, there's I was quite impressed with 22 games, if I'm honest, because some of them are like Borderlands 2's Linux.
Oh.
And I was reading up the other day that apparently Rocket League's going to be as well, and although I'm sure they said they were going to do that before Xbox, but I think Xbox is going next week, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's coming out on the 17th.
Yeah,
for those guys.
And there's a lot of online communities, like websites and that are saying, that are trying to help audiences only buy games that will also be Linux compatible. So that's also trying to entice developers. So it's really jumping on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, that's good. Because I mean, they've got the Steam boxes, which are due out at some point, I imagine this year, and I'm sure they've already been, maybe in the States they've already got them, but a Steam box is obviously going to run on a Steam OS, which is a form of Linux there. Was you ever tempted to look down that avenue, perhaps wait until a Steam box was out and then have a little sniff around that?
Yeah, because I was looking at the Alienware ones that they do. I don't think they're quite called a Steam box, or maybe they are. But that was just running Windows 7 with Steam and the big picture in it. So it literally boots up Windows, then goes straight into Steam's big picture mode.
Right, I see.
I'm quite a big fan of having a desktop PC. I'm probably quite old school like that, but it's quite nice sometimes if you think, it's running a bit slow, you can just open it up and stick some more RAM in it, or buy a new graphics card, because they seem to get cheaper as my ones die out. So I don't know. It's the kind of fiddle factor I was a bit worried about, really. I still think I'd like to replace something for the TV in the living room. Try and figure out something for that.
Yeah,
it is nice when people are around to be able to play something, but I've also still got a Wii U sitting there, so we'll see how long it takes until Nintendo pisses me off and that gets sold as well.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, the Wii U is sitting there. I mean, do you even play that much these days, or has that been kind of dropped off?
Still waiting for them to release a game. It's really been that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Mario Kart 8, we've got Super Smash Brothers. I don't know, they're kind of 40 quid games, but like you pick them up, play them once, you're like, oh right, okay, done.
Yeah.
So I think the Wii U's been the most disappointing console ever.
Really?
Yeah, well, I still think it's alright, but.
Do you have this kind of love for Nintendo like a lot of people do, because they had a NES or they had a SNES when they was growing up, and they kind of, they had this love for Nintendo, which I fully understand, but I've never owned a console, so I don't have that. Do you have that, or was it just that you saw the Wii U and you thought, I'll go for that? Have you had a Wii or GameCube, anything like that in the past?
Oh, it was... Paul's a bad man.
He's a bad influence, that man.
We got quite... I think it was my birthday a couple of years back, but we'd had a good old night on the beer.
Yeah.
Stayed at my place, and we woke up in the morning and was both hungover and was like, oh, that Wii U looks pretty good. We just bombed it down to Argos and then bought some bacon sarnies on the way back from Argos and both sat there with a Wii U each. And we just thought, oh, we'll get one each, because then we can hook both of the controllers up that have the screen in, and we can co-op through something.
Yeah.
And then we started doing that. You're like, oh, the controller's just completely tied to the console. So
yeah,
I was disappointed with it instantly.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I mean, they said this with the Wii, didn't they? That you'd be able to get your Wii, Nintendo DS and use that as a screen for your Nintendo Wii. I mean, there's another company that's just broken promises really constantly. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, is that the first Nintendo console you'd owned then, or?
No, I was. I guess the whole history of it goes back to Master System 1.
Yeah.
Then SNES.
Oh no.
Then 64.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation 2, and then obviously spoke about that earlier. So
yeah. So you did play the old SNES back in the day, and the N64. There's always that split between PlayStation and N64. I was a PlayStation boy, so I used to go around someone else's house to play the N64, and I always used to enjoy the classics like WWF No Mercy.
I think I had a PlayStation 1 when it went to the compact version of it.
Oh yeah, of course. They released. They liked doing that, didn't they?
Yeah, because Gran Turismo just blew me out of the water. I'd never seen anything like it, and I'm a big racing fan.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe that game. It was just incredible. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before.
Yeah.
And I played PC kind of simulator ones like Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And they were quite good and stuff, but I'd never seen a console game that was anything like that. I mean, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But they obviously stuffed that up, didn't they? How long does it take them to bring a Gran Turismo out now?
About 12 years. It's not that, but it feels like that. It's a long old time, and since then, Forza has gone from strength to strength, and it's really filled in the game. We've got other sort of Assetto Corsa coming out, and also Project Cars that come out last year, which I've got, which I'm quite a big fan of. Drive Club on the PlayStation, which isn't really that type of game. It doesn't offer the simulation levels that you need. But as you mentioned, you're a big racing fan. Yeah. Is this new venture of the Linux going to be able to satisfy that demand of a racing game?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of trying to figure out at the minute, actually, because I've got Assetto Corsa for the PC.
Yeah.
And I've got R Factor 2, which is a proper kind of race sim.
Oh yeah, highly moddable, I've heard.
Yeah,
R Factor 2, yeah.
I've not managed to get either of those running yet.
Nah.
There's basically on Linux you get there's a bit of software that's called Wine, and someone's also plugged on top of that Play on Linux, and there's different kind of. I think it basically creates a virtual desktop and then you play it through there.
Yeah.
I've tried it with Guild Wars 2 and not had much success yet. But I've seen there's an R Factor one for that.
Give that a go.
Fingers crossed I'll get something running. But that will, I guess more will come. More will follow on news on that. But that is the one thing I'm starting to worry about, is that I'm going to really miss one of those games. Cause,
Mario Kart's not going to fill the void on that, is it? It's not. It's not. No, not quite the same. As great as it is.
Linux kind of developed ones like that. There's actually stacks of free Linux games that have been community developed.
Oh.
But unfortunately, I think all of the people that community develop Linux games are developers and not.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many 3D artists. Some of it is quite basic, but I'm quite interested to give that a go, actually, because
that'd certainly be interesting, wouldn't it, to see what's been developed and whatnot.
I love great graphics in that, but it's kind of like XCOM. I started playing that again.
Yeah.
The graphics aren't great in that, but you don't notice after 5 minutes because the gameplay is so good.
Yeah.
You've kind of switched off to it, so I'll definitely try and give some of those a game and a review. Oh, going back to the I think I didn't answer the question properly earlier. But the multiplayer gaming one.
Sure.
Mr. Piper and Hall have been talking about playing Civ 5, and obviously Steam have been working quite hard to do cross-platform multiplayers. And obviously Team Fortress 2 was one of the first that done that, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I remember I used to play on my MacBook Pro at work, and my character would be running around with white iPod headphones in.
That's
mates would not be. So hopefully there's gateways for that as well. But
I mean that's great, isn't it? I mean, there's certainly a growing library there. I mean, do you have any regrets? Did you have an immediate regret when you did it and you was fiddling around trying to get it working, or is there any kind of regret seeping in, or are you happy to have this fresh approach?
For the minute, I'm still happy. I think the red haze of anger against the Xbox has kind of kept me going, really. I mean, there was when I got Firewatch on Tuesday. I installed it, clicked play, and nothing was happening. Just absolutely nothing was happening. Yeah. And luckily, I had a quick search on the forums, and basically, Linux is all case sensitive folders.
Oh, okay.
And, Steam had just made it so you installed it, and it was a small F on the Firewatch folder.
Yeah.
Other than a big F, so I changed that and it started running again.
Yeah.
Potentially stuff like that is really frustrating.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know how big their market is for stuff, and you would have thought at least they'd boot it up, right?
Yeah, that's an oversight, isn't it, by someone?
So there's small bits like that, and whenever a game stalls, which does happen on PCs every now and again, you think, oh bloody hell, it's Linux. What have I done wrong? This isn't for me. What have I done? I just want to play a game. Yeah. But in general, I'm quite happy. I mean, just even cancelling the Xbox Live subscription, it's like, that's so much money, and I'm not sure what they do for it.
Yeah.
It still doesn't work on the Xbox One, right? I mean, it's just I'm getting the rage back. I'm feeling better about Linux again already. So
Well, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I mean, you've even said you're playing more than you have done for a long time. It's kind of giving you that new lease of life, and you've got all these different kind of interesting options. Yeah, it's a bit of a fiddle fuck to get going, but once it does, it sounds like it's going to be good in the long term for you, and you're going to have to even maybe look at games you hadn't looked at before.
Well, Firewatch is example number one of that. I don't think it's out for Xbox One, is it? If it is, I hadn't heard of it.
No.
Or hadn't heard of it. Kind of the build up for it.
No.
And, I've never really played a game like that before, and I've just found it so good. I've really enjoyed it. I've probably put 2 hours in, but I'm probably going to go up there and have a go on it now, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, I've just finished coming off it. I gave it its first session tonight. Again, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm liking it. It runs. I've got the PlayStation 4, and it runs not very well whatsoever. It runs like a bit of a pig, if I'm honest. Yeah, frame rate is pretty shocking in places, which is disappointing. But that compounds some of the frustrations that this generation has had. If you include Xbox One and Sony, they are essentially underpowered PCs. So when you even get games like Firewatch that come out, they noticeably struggle, and they shouldn't really, but they do. And I've seen there's going to be a patch going in to fix it, but I just think, come on. Get it right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the shame as well, because it's as beautiful of a game as it is, it's not intensive, is it?
No, it's artistically done, very clever, so it looks nice, but it's not got loads of shadowing or god rays coming in through the trees, none of that sort of stuff. So disappointing for it to happen, but I'm glad that it's running well on your machine for your new venture.
That's looking really good. Yeah.
Great news. Well, I think we'll draw this particular segment to a close, Chappers. Thanks very much for joining, and I look very much forward to hearing how this venture goes. And you guys at home, if you want to keep track on this adventure, head over to dimpdigital.com, and Chappers will be blogging about it when he's got something significant to talk about, or when he's bored, probably, more likely. He'll pop something on there. But thanks for joining us, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Adkins, you're back once again, and you've landed the coveted final slot on the podcast, the man who's best equipped to handle this, and you're back. Yeah. You're back in this slot, so welcome back. This is the honorary position. This is what everyone wants to get to in their lives. They want this slot, and you've done it twice in the last 4 weeks or so. So
I'm the Conor McGregor of the Dimp podcast.
that is it. You're fast working your way up the rankings, that's for sure. Now we've got a hat trick of news stories to round out this particular podcast, and let's start with the, I think, surprising confirmation, because there was rumours about this happening, but confirmation that Quantum Break is no longer an Xbox One exclusive. It is now a console exclusive, because when it arrives on April the 5th, it's going to be on Xbox One and Windows 10. To soften the blow, what they're offering, I mean, this is awful, but if you if you pre-order a digital copy on your Xbox One of Quantum Break, you get a free PC copy. Now, what the fucking point in that is, I don't know, because,
mental.
You could buy it on PC. If you wanted the PC version, you could just buy it for 30 quid tops when it comes out, isn't it? You'll find somewhere where you can get a key and it'll be 30 quid, whatever way you look at it. And the only way I can think of that working is if you wanted to share it with someone, but it'll probably be linked to your gamer tag, because it's all cross now. So strange thing to do. I don't know anyone who's going, I'll play on my Xbox One today. I'll go on the PC and play the same game, because you can cross save it. That's mad. That's not what we're here to talk about. But there's a few issues on this, but I wanted to get your personal opinion, because you were considering getting an Xbox One for this game.
Yep.
You've got a decent enough PC rig, so does this nullify your need to even go out and spend another £250, £300 on an Xbox One?
Yep, 100%. I had that money saved up ready. I was going to buy that. I thought, right, Quantum Break, that's the game that's gonna break me, and I will get that Xbox One.
Yeah.
Boom, coming to PC. No need. So they've lost myself for the time being.
Well, exactly.
Gears 4 maybe, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, if this sort of trend does continue, do you think this will set off a few alarm bells for the Xbox One division? Because Microsoft, it seems like their strategy now is to try and it makes sense, doesn't it? As Microsoft shouldn't, they want everyone who's got whatever platform they own to play whatever. Yeah. But for the Xbox One crowd, this they're still going to get the games, but there's no longer. I suppose it's for people like you who are considering getting one. It's going to hurt their sales in that sense. People have already got one; they're sorted. But if you were thinking of getting one, you already got a PC that's decent enough. Yeah. It's now cutting, that need to have one.
Yeah, it's such a strange decision to do that. I know they talked about sort of integration with Windows 10, like trying to link it onto the PCs and the Xboxes, but for we're arriving in PlayStation with the amount of we've talked before about the exclusive games that PlayStation have. Xbox trying to rival that, and they're obviously it's still an exclusive. You can't get it on PlayStation, but it just does. It seems to be cutting their margin. Their market is
absolutely
it's very strange.
It'll be very interesting, I think, to see what their next steps are. What they do with, like you mentioned, Gears 4, Scalebound, and maybe Crackdown. Yeah. But if we see two of those three launch simultaneously on Windows and on the Xbox One, then I think that's a confirmation that this is their strategy. You're going to see pretty much nearly everything on both sets of platforms, and then you have to consider the value of an Xbox One, because all it's all really going to do is end up offering a lesser games library, because you've got a lot of PC stuff that you can play that you can't play on consoles. Real-time strategy is just one example of MMOs, proper ones. You can't play them on consoles across any board. You can call Destiny what you like, but it's not an MMO. It's got MMO elements. And you can buy the same games on the PC for probably a cheaper price, and they're going to look and run better. I mean, you've got the convenience of an Xbox One there, but if you've already got a rig set up, or if you've not bought an Xbox One, you might just consider binning it off, or going to PlayStation, where you can get a different set of games, or even Nintendo. Obviously, we can't forget about them, because they sound like mental,
absolutely livid.
Yeah.
Now, there's also I think Steam are doing it's like the PSTV sort of thing, like a Steam Link. I think it's called.
Yes.
So, and that's making it more sort of console.
It's friendly, isn't it? It's much more friendly, because you could stream it to your telly and hope if there's no hit in performance.
No, that's right.
And the complaint of you've got to link your PC up, you got all the wires, that takes that out of the window.
Exactly, and it really is making the Xbox One nullified.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've seen quite a few. I mean, we look at Firewatch, which came out last week. That is on PC and PlayStation 4. So even in that sense, PC are getting a lot of games, and it is only now, it seems, all the first party developers, or the ones that they're starting up, so Naughty Dog games, they're not going to go anywhere else. It isn't like for the foreseeable future. Or anything that Sony develop in-house is not going anywhere. But they're not churning too many of those new games out now. I mean, we're due a new God of War, we're due an Uncharted this year, and then after that probably a Last of Us, Ratchet and Clank, that sort of thing. But you have to look at the library and think, is it going to come to the stage where more people, especially when it comes to the next generation, which will be, maximum 5 years away, they might just look at the PC and go, you know what, I could just save one up, get one of those, and be covered for like 90% of the games.
Yep. No, it's absolutely ludicrous, isn't it?
Well, they're growing in stature, and I think it's a strange decision. I'm not sure if the people in the Xbox One division are happy with the way Microsoft are doing it, but from a business point of view, if you're looking at the whole thing, it makes sense. But if you're part of that division and you're already struggling against the PlayStation, which is your main rival, then this is only going to add to the misery for those guys there.
Interested to know what someone like Hall, who only has an Xbox One as his main sort of console. I know he's got the Wii U, but where he's not bought his PlayStation 4 yet, so
no.
I'm sure he's like hoping up people stick with Xbox, so he's got a bit of a community he can play with.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? If people do start fading away, then that impacts, a group of people, really. And I know that there were people that reacted, Xbox One fans that reacted quite bad to this news because they felt like they'd been almost led down the path, saying, "Oh, I bought an Xbox One for this, and now it's just on PC." Now, I'm not sure. I'm not really in that camp. I think it's better for more people to have to play all the games. If more people can play it, that's good. But if you are a fan of that particular console that has been running for how many years, if you are a fanboy of that, then this will hurt. This will damage you. But if the same thing was done with Uncharted, I wouldn't really be too bothered. It's more people that can finally play that game, and it can get. Hopefully it'll be great. But it's a tricky one, and maybe I'll bring it up on next week's one, just see if I can scratch it a few wounds. He'll try and play it off cool, but I think it's hurting him. That's what I reckon. It's damaged him. Next up, Ubisoft. Now, we knew this was happening anyway. There's leaks, wasn't there? The famous leaks. But there will be no Assassin's Creed in 2016. That's come from Ubisoft themselves. I think this is great news, whatever way you look at it, because it's been on borrowed time coming out every year. It's really hurt the franchise's image, and it's the way it can push forward and the way they can develop the games. And I've borrowed Syndicate off of Biff, so that will be getting played shortly, and I'm going to enjoy the nice break between the end of that and hopefully a rejuvenated Assassin's Creed series. I can't think of any negatives of this. But you were getting sick of them as well.
Exactly, yeah. I've worked my way through all of them. I've got Syndicate that came with my graphics card, so I've got to play through that. Yeah. But like you say, you now have this extra time that I don't have to rush to get it out. Whereas before, I'll play it for a couple of weeks, bin it for a little while, go back to it, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, buddy, the next one's coming out in a couple of months. Let's get this one done so we can crack on.
Yeah.
But no, it can't do any harm for their franchise.
No.
I think my other games like Call of Duty should take a look at this, and hopefully it will impact sales for the next Assassin's Creed and a better game, which I'm sure it will do.
Yeah, that's what we're after, really. We want to. It needs a kick in the arse, that series. It's been running so long for every year. It's been run hard, and they can come back with some new ideas or just maybe overhaul it. Taking the time out is definitely the right thing to do. Another interesting point from Ubisoft this past week is they had their investors call, and on this call, it was announced that by the end of their financial year, which is sometime before May 2017, that's a funny old time to have it, but there you go. French for you. Bit out of order. The following games will be out. They should be out in the public domain. So whether that's 2016, late or early 2017, Watch Dogs 2, South Park: The Fractured Butthole, For Honor, and Ghost Recon Wildlands. Which one out of those would you be most interested in seeing in the next sort of year or so?
In the next year, I'm going to have to say South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
You was a big fan of the Stick of Truth, wasn't you?
Brilliant, yeah. I only played it last year. So
yeah.
Again, late, another year behind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a brilliant game.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of South Park, the series, and I find it hilarious.
Yeah, he's done a great job on that, making it just feel like an extended episode of the show.
That's right, yeah. you get there's I think there was like a mobile game of the Family Guy.
Yeah,
the Family Guy. The Family Guy, and I think it was a bit of a throwaway game. No, I'm really mad about it. But this it was a brilliant story, and the actual normally these things they come out and they're not. It's a lot like these movie adaptation games. They tend to be pony as well, didn't they?
Yeah, you're right.
But no, Ubisoft done a really good job with this. I think it was Obsidian as well.
Yeah, sticking their oar in, getting involved.
That's it, yeah. But no, it's a brilliant game. I do recommend anyone to play it. It's not too long. It's only about sort of 13 hours long.
Yeah.
But it is hilarious, and the gameplay is actually brilliant as well.
Yeah.
And they've done a real stunning job. So I think out of them ones, what was the Badlands? Did you say?
Wildlands for Ghost Recon. Yeah.
Ghost Recon. That's another one where they kept trying to churn them every out, and they just I think that Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, Groran. Yeah.
I couldn't be bothered with it, so that's needed a good
lay down.
Yeah, but Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's been a little while at least, so maybe that'll.
Yeah,
it needs to be less boring, but I don't know how they do that. Like,
that's very true.
that's all I could say. Like, it was just the hype didn't help that game whatsoever. No. So maybe now it's been dampened by it being average to decent. That might cut it back.
Yeah, did it come out the same year as GTA 5?
I think it was out the year after, early the year after, and then. Yeah, it was because I remember they delayed it and everyone was like, "Oh, scared."
Of course, it's always going to get that, isn't it? The comparison to GTA 5, any open world game is. But if they can branch off there, they had some good ideas.
Certainly.
Hacking and things.
Yeah, just do a few more things with that and make the world just feel a little bit more alive. And we'll see with that one. For Honor's an interesting one because that looks like it looks very unique. It's sort of like 1v1 kind of melee combat on an actual battle zone. There's like a team of 4 against a team of 4, and there's AI to kill, but your main task is to kill the other enemy players. So seek them out and go one-on-one with swords and whatnot. Everyone all the previews I saw from E3 were going mental about it. They all loved how the controls work, and I'm really interested to get my hands on this and just see how it plays. Hopefully they'll do some sort of beta.
Yeah. That'd be good. Yeah, I've been looking at this one. It was one of the standouts for E3. There was a game. I think I'm not sure if it's on a console. It's certainly on PC. Chivalry. Have you ever played that?
Okay, no, I haven't. No.
It's again like a sort of medieval, whatever that type of game is. It's like a, sort of a 4-on-4 or whatever. But that's quite enjoyable to play, and that's what it reminded me of. Yeah. But yeah, if it's coming to console, it looks like it could be a good one. Yeah,
so there you go. So Ubisoft look like it's having a half decent year there. I mean, Wildlands for me sticks out because I think that could be a fantastic co-op game. But I'm interested in just how unique For Honor looks. But we'll see in due time and see some more information when that comes out. Final topic is to Destiny. So I know Hall's probably throwing and slamming his phone now as he listens to this. He's already livid about the Xbox One losing its sole exclusive, but now he's not going to have any input into the developments into Destiny, so he's gone mad. He might quit. He might have lost him now, which is that'll be disappointing. But Destiny 2 is confirmed for 2017 with a quote unquote large expansion due this year. Now, you had Destiny, you bought it off me, played it for an hour, binned it for about a year, but you only recently went back and actually went through the game on your own. But you didn't get snarled up in the kind of the expansion debacle, as I'll call it, with the House of Wolves and the other one that they released, where it was an expensive investment. It turned out to be for people that had adopted early. How do you think this kind of way of doing it, where they've got an expansion come this year, do you think this is the right approach? Like doing a sequel eventually, but they've not done it they've left it quite a reasonable amount of time, longer than I thought they would.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with all these big expansions. Like I say, I've not. What was it? The Dark Below.
That's it. Yeah.
The House of Wolves. Yeah, they didn't draw me in. I didn't. The Taken King. That sounded like a lot of people said that feels like a new, almost like Destiny 2 to them. A lot of them said it changed the way it played a bit.
That's why that's how it should have been released. Is what I keep hearing. That's with that amount of content to start with.
That's it. I mean, I'm on the fence with these season passes and things. I'm still undecided if they're a good or bad thing.
Yeah. But, would you consider getting that expansion at the end of the year?
No.
No?
No. Well, they bring out like the Legendary Edition at the minute that includes everything.
Yeah.
And that would piss me off. Buying the season pass for probably more than what the collector's edition costs, and then that coming out a couple of months later, that would really rile me up. So I think I'd just stick to the core games.
Yeah.
And pick up the DLC when it gets collected in a package.
Well, yeah. So what I'm actually interested in jumping back into Destiny, but and I'm perhaps thinking that when the entire lot of Destiny 1 is out, so this large expansion drops later this year, then maybe that's the time to do it, because you'll have the Taken King, and have all the House of Wolves, Dark Below, and this new one all sitting there ready, and the price will either be, I don't know what they'll do with that for a collector's one. If it's going to be at least 40 to 50
rubs.
You reckon it'll be that? Yeah. But then it's bonkers, because you can pick up the Legendary Edition now for £20.
Yep.
Like that's like $30, $35 in the American currency, which is very cheap for the amount of stuff that you're probably going to get. And I'd obviously played through the vanilla version, and it was far too light in terms of content and story for me personally. And I'm hearing that the Taken King had fixed that, so perhaps me waiting for another expansion seems like the best tactic. Then it'll have everything, and I'll bookmark it. Depends on the price, it really does, because if you pick up the Legendary Edition now for £20, how much is this expansion going to be? 20 again? And 40? Yep. Is it worth another 20 on its own is the question. That's where I struggle to justify it, and I think that's a bit too much when you can buy a full-fledged indie game for £15, like new, unique, not just added content to a game. Firewatch, for example. Runs like a pig on the old PlayStation 4. But yeah, I think we'll wrap this particular segment up, and that's the end of the podcast as well, so you get to hear the bollocks at the end, which means if you want to tweet us, you can do at Dimp Digital, and you can like the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Dimp Digital. dimpdigitalmedia@gmail.com is the email address. And if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, then drop on, if you've got an Android devices, drop on to Player FM. It's a podcast app where we are one of the featured podcasts there, so you can find us there, and many other podcasts. You can have your whole library, and then it'll automatically download them onto your phone when we hit. If you're on Apple, obviously head over to iTunes. If you're on Windows, you need to sort your life out. Don't forget about the YouTube channel, obviously, youtube.com/Dimp Digital. Let's Talks, Let's Plays. The odd stream will appear on there. That's it for now, though. Game over. It's goodbye from Adkins.
See ya.
And it's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.
I haven't got dinner.
What are you eating?
Right. Do you remember this? Hold up, fucked it.
Huh?
Hang on. Trying to play a sound effect and ain't playing.
Yeah.
Oh, fucked it. I've cocked that up. How do you work this?
Press play, mate. I do think we should start every video with that now.
It's too. That bit at the end definitely could be used.
No, but like the thing is, it's just have it all in. Just don't. No one watches the videos anyway, so
They do.
I love that.
it is
I love
brilliant.
that.
It just adds. It's more quirky than anything we've ever had before.
Well, he's pretty good at it.
I've listened to all these other ones, and to be honest, that's probably the best of a lot of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because he's got
Pay.
he promoted himself on the Dimp Digital website, didn't he?
Yeah.
So you can go through to the link to his actual website where you can pay £10 for one of those.
Yeah. Chappers fucking gave him £85 for that.
That is
So
that is Chappers.
That's not him that's done it,
Yeah, it is.
is it?
I'm sure that's his site, and he's put that together.
No, I think there's a guy that does this, and you pay him $20, and he just does a shit
Fuck off.
logo. Well,
He makes money out of this.
I think it's Chappers just making a bit of cash out of it.
It ain't. Look, drawing bad logos for beer money since 2010. Chappers has nothing to do with this.
Who did the music, Chappers?
No, you go to this guy, you pay him £20, and then you say, I want... It's Dimp Digital, we would do video reviews, make us a really shit jingle and what's the name, logo. Then he goes off and does it. Let's have a look. Contact me.
He deliberately makes them poor.
Yeah. He says drawing bad logos for beer money since 2010.
I'm sure that was Chappers, though.
He's not listening, is he? It doesn't even sound like Chappers.
It does. He's putting the voice and blurbing it all up. Anyone can go.
I don't think he has.
I think he has. I don't think he would have
paid. CEO don't even know what's going on here. He's losing control already.